We present to you the podcast Wounded Hearts, Wounded Churches. We discuss a range of topics that include addictions, religious abuse, and recovery. This live platform offers meaningful questions and answers, a counseling continuum, and valuable feedback from professionals and others who have been through the process and are healed, forgiven, and reconciled. If they can achieve this, so can you. This program can be heard on iHeart, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Pandora, Apple Podcasts, and others. Make no mistake, this podcast sustains and implements three things: healing, forgiveness, and reconciliation within the Church of God. Thanks for listening.
Good to see you tonight, friends, for the podcast Wounded Hearts, Wounded Churches. And again, we're glad you're here tonight to spend this half an hour with us discussing these most important topics in the Church of God. This platform offers a counseling continuum. And of course, you can text in tonight on this live program. We'll do some meaningful question and answers and an exciting guest tonight. But you can text in. That number for texting in tonight is 1-866-538-3664. 1-866-538-3664. You can also call Wounded Hearts. We have two phone numbers. First number for Wounded Hearts to call us is 478-283-9093. 478-283-9093. You can also call our second number, Wounded Hearts. That number is 478-784-7600. We have an email for Wounded Hearts, and that email is reeechone@aol.com. And yes, that's 4 E's. It's pronounced reach one, reeechone@aol.com. So again, glad you're here tonight to share with us in this most important discussion. And again, we're here to be a source of encouragement. We like to bring on guests who've been through issues and God brought them through and can encourage you to also do the same. That's why we're here. Our director has expanded our platform to include different platforms: YouTube, True Social. We're on Facebook, Amazon Music. We're on Podium, SoundCloud, Spotify, and many others. But make no mistake, friends, our main focus here, our genre, this is our 213 podcast, I believe, and our main focus has always been just three things: to submit to the church forgiveness, healing, reconciliation in God's church. That's why we're here, to reach out with forgiveness and healing, reconciliation in God's church, and that will produce a tighter unity. And so that is why we are here to submit those things to our viewers and to our listeners. Some folks are with us on this podcast. Pastor Mullins, he's in the Alabama area. He can be heard on YouTube, Facebook, preaching for years and years, but he has a real burden for unity in God's church. Also, Stella Cavan, she's a mom of 8. Let's see, her dad was a minister, nephew was a pastor, and her son was a pastor, and others also too. Been saved 62 years in the Ohio area, and we're glad she's a part of this program. Our director, Tennille McLeod, she's a mom. She homeschools her children. Founder of Horizon magazine. She's in the Atlanta area. She's our director here. And of course, also Brother Brown, in Arkansas, ministering for years, focuses on African outreach there, but he also has a burden for reconciliation. And of course, my name is Prince, founder of Antioch Youth Center, counselor, retired. And so again, we're glad you are here tonight. I was asked a question a couple weeks ago. A pastor asked, he said, "Do you always agree with those who have on your program?" No, we don't agree all the time. No, we don't. But we can discuss these things, friends, because we want to endeavor to keep unity. We want to endeavor. So we want to try where we can to maintain unity in God's church. That is why we're here. But tonight, oh my, I've been waiting for this for about 3 months now. We have Sister Joann Wingate. The Wingate name, I'm sure you know. You've been around the church, you've heard about the Wingates and their talent in music. She's from Florida, Florida native, a mom of eight, been saved since the 1960s. And her husband, Alan Wingate, minister, evangelist, pastor, and church planner. She sees some experiences, friends, been through a lot of things, and we want to find out more about that and how God brought her through. So, Sister Wingate, want to give you a hand tonight for being here, and that is heartfelt. It is.
Amen.
That's
Amen.
heartfelt. And the reason
Yes.
why, friends, I enjoy the saints have been around for years and years and years. We have a young lady on our board, a lady there, she's been saved 52 years. She's 84 years old. And when saints come on, still serving God at that age, that's a beautiful thing. They've been
Amen.
through some things, and they can
That's
tell us some
true.
things how to get through these things. So
True.
we need these mature saints badly. Mark
So
that
true.
down. We need these mature saints badly, badly,
Amen.
badly.
Amen.
Now, Sister Wingate, let me start off. There was a study done. It's called glance trance Fiaro gene, and they say that there is a music gene that goes through the genes of the parents. Now, your sons and children are very, very musically oriented, especially Steve and Tom. I know that was good, but did you teach them as children, or did they just catch on? You know, because I mean, they're naturals. I mean, Tommy, three or four instruments. Steve, three or four instruments. I mean, how did you all
They,
do that?
they all learned that from their dad.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow.
I didn't have time to be musically inclined. I take care of so many children.
I understand. But I tell you, those two boys, and also Steve wrote a book. I got a copy of it, 60 Years in the Church
Yes,
of God. It's very good. I read it today, yesterday. And of course,
I,
Tommy plays,
I,
but I'm sorry.
I have to say, my children are all very. They're good at just about anything they want to put their hand to.
No.
And um, my children, because they're so outgoing, and they kind of they never caused me trouble, but they had a name for some reason, brother. I don't know why. Um, but they always they loved the saints, and they loved the pastors. Oh, and Stephen told me recently. He said, "Mom," he said, "we had so many good mentors that come. We had them come to our house, the pastors, and precious people that came with us. And uh, Brother Gordon from Chicago came one time, and we all the young men in the congregation, they come over to the house and they just sat at his feet and listened to him tell stories about his dad who was saved, and
Mm,
about his dad, how he would preach on the street and they actually arrested him and threw him in prison,
Wow.
and brother,
mm,
an angel actually opened that door and let him out. And he went
my.
right back to the street and was preaching again. This Brother Gordon's dad.
Wow.
So
Oh,
Brother Gordon had a great father that he followed in his footsteps. But when he was at our house, and, and brother, I attribute our sons being wanting to be saved and be interested in God from the people that we had in our home. Oh, and they were so good, and they, around the boys loved being around them. And some of our boys, they didn't get saved right away when they were young. Tommy, he backslid, and some of them, they backslid, but they never went so far as to not want to be around the saints. And I
right,
thank God
right.
for that. That's God.
Amen.
And God
Amen.
just was
Amen.
so good to us, for that reason. And I mean, I tell my boys, I'm thankful because my boys, uh, they're men now. My oldest son is going to be 70 on his birthday.
Wow.
Wow,
Then
wow. Okay.
we did lose one son from some disease that was rare, that 1 in 1 million people get it. And so we lost him in September. It's been over a year now. But then I've got my son, and then Tommy. He was backslid for a long time. But Tommy, when he came back, he studied his Bible. And I tell you, he knows a lot of stuff. If you get into a conversation with him, he can tell you what, when, and where about
Well,
a lot of things.
he and I are friends, and that is true. He can tell you a lot of things, Brother Tommy. I
Yeah.
enjoy him so very much. Sister Wingate, let's go off into it. Okay, your music career. So you all were, before you got saved, you were really active in the country music genre, weren't you?
My husband, he didn't play country. He played what they back then what we called
Okay.
rock music. And he had a guitar player and a drummer. They were both black. And then we had what they have, maybe another band. He played horn, some kind of horn. But you know what, brother? My husband and I, neither one was ever prejudiced. We were not raised to be prejudiced. My mother was from Georgia, but I thank God that she never raised us children to be prejudiced. And so these musicians, my husband felt like they were part of his family. And they went to the Daytona Beach one time on the pier, and they were actually ran off the pier because he brought his musicians up there with him. Wow. But you got to understand, though, this was back in 63. I mean, before 63, 62, you know, when times was different then. But, yeah, and then he played music, and I mean, he loved it. And he got on a record label, and he had a booking agent that, you know, took him different places all over the country, wherever they wanted to send him. And, but we never talked about God. But I will say this, that my husband was testified to numerous times by people whenever he would come home at night. Back then you could pick up a hitchhiker and not be afraid. And he would pick up maybe a hitchhiker, and the hitchhiker would testify to him and tell him about God. And he would come home.
So Sister Wingate, so testifying, witnessing does work, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
You testify to someone and just keep it going. That does have an effect on people.
Absolutely. Yes, it does. You know, before we got saved, we had a baby that died, and that's we had 5 boys, and then we had a little girl, and we lost her. But before she died, 2 people came to our house to invite us to church, but they were scared to death of us. They stood right inside the screen door, and they wouldn't come in. We wanted them to come in, but they did not come in, and then we lost our baby, and of course, you know, we didn't realize how much that was going to change our life after we lost that baby, our little baby girl, because we had boys.
That was devastating, I'm sure.
Very devastating, yes.
Sister Wingate, I've been reading the book about you and about the one that your son wrote, and I want to ask a side note. Is it true that Johnny Cash asked you to dance before you got saved?
You know what? They were we went to what you call it was for disc jockeys. It was a thing for disc jockeys, and all the singers would go, you know, because you wanted to meet these disc jockeys, so they would push your record.
Right.
Yeah, Johnny Cash. I don't remember exactly what he did, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Tell me about Bill Brown, the church service you went to that you all got saved.
Okay,
Billy Brown. Yes, ma'am.
No, he didn't invite us to church. The night that we went to church, my husband and I had that morning I was telling the sister that morning, my husband and I had, my husband had gotten into an argument with me, tried to. And so I started crying. I had to send the boys with my friends. She took them to church and I stayed home. But that night, I would always ask my husband to go to church. He would tell me no most of the time, but I would still ask him. And I always try to encourage people to ask. I don't care if people turn
Ask them.
down, ask.
Just keep on inviting. Keep on
Yes.
inviting.
And so I asked him that night, and he came with me. And that night, Billy Brown was there. And Billy Brown, he knew Billy Brown because Billy Brown had been on Capitol Records. And whenever he got saved, he quit all of it, gave it all up.
Wow. Wow.
He was there. He preached that night when he got saved. Uh, Brother Billy, God called him to preach. And so my husband went to the church that night and went to the altar. Brother, he got delivered of his cigarettes that night. He threw them out the window
Wow.
on the way home.
Wow.
He got delivered. He was an alcoholic. When we went home, he took his bottle. I didn't know he had it. It was in the back of his amplifier. He dumped that down the toilet, a bottle of
Wow.
and then he had speed, which he used all the time, and it was in boxes. He dumped all of that down the toilet.
Wow.
He was delivered completely
Delivered.
that night,
Delivered.
Amen.
Thank
Of
the
every-
Lord. Thank the
yes.
Lord.
Amen.
Delivered.
full deliverance that night. And it impressed my sons. They were just shocked because they knew their dad. And so whenever he threw all this stuff away, it really left a lasting impression on them, which was really good because it followed them, most of them up until the time that they got saved.
And they knew salvation was real and it worked.
Yes, they did. They knew it was real. Absolutely. Yes.
We're going to take a break, Sister Wingate, but when we come back, I want you to tell me about what happened in 1985, the split there. While she's thinking about that question, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. Please don't leave. More discussions with Sister Joann Wingate. Be right back.
Greetings. Wounded Hearts, Wounded Churches is a weekly podcast reaching out to the disenfranchised, disconnected, or wounded. Remember, you are not forgotten. You went through a debilitating situation. As a result, we are reaching out to you in love with forgiveness, reconciliation, and healing. We also offer an exciting magazine called Arise. It's an excellent fit for class discussions or personal devotions. Arise can be purchased through our website or by calling 478-784-7600. This podcast was designed by Church of God for Church of God. Don't go away. Stay tuned for more exciting conversations. Thanks for listening.
And we're back with Sister Joann Wingate. We're going to talk about what happened in 85, this split. So, Wingate, I know it's emotional for you. And if you don't want to get into it, we don't have to, but we really want to see what happened and how God brought you through. The split in 85, what happened?
Well, that was terrible. And it was ridiculous. It was stupid. I guess you're not supposed to use the word stupid, but
It's all right. It's all right.
my husband would get on the phone, and back then sometimes you had to pay for your phone calls. If you were on the phone 30 minutes, you'd pay for 30 minutes. It wasn't like it is now, but he would call ministers and tried to talk reason into them. And some of them was just so against, they did not want to be reasoned with. Put it that way. They did not want to be reasoned with. And my husband would cry trying to talk to them and trying to help them to see, that it wasn't like that they thought it was, what they were saying. And it was terrible, brother. It was real.
So he was trying to bring unity.
Yes, he did.
And forgiveness in the church, but they just Sister Wingate, why wouldn't they reason, in your opinion?
They
You've
did.
seen,
You know
okay,
what? Sometimes they don't want to know. They don't want to know. That's the only thing you could say. They've got their mind made up and they just don't want to know. It doesn't matter, what you tell them. It's like my son Tommy, he if he believes something, he will try to tell you, he's very staunch about what he believes.
and he,
But my
he,
husband
he,
wasn't my
yeah,
husband wasn't argumentative or anything. He was
okay.
very loving and kind, trying to explain what happened, and they just did not want to listen. They didn't want to listen. They didn't want to hear it.
How'd that affect your husband when he couldn't get the discussion that he wanted and couldn't bring unity? Did that affect him much, or how did that affect him?
Well, it the only way it affected him was kind of, you would feel down about it.
Sure.
You know, he wouldn't talk. He wouldn't talk much about it though. He really didn't. He didn't want to go around. He had certain pastors that he was real close to, and they would discuss things, but he wasn't the type of person to go out and try to, just tell everybody, what was wrong here. He wasn't the type of person that tried to correct people. He was not that way at all.
What effect did that split have on family and friends that you knew about?
Actually, my husband kept it away from our family, from our children, as much as he could. Tommy, I think it affected Tommy a lot. Uh,
Sure.
he got really, really upset about it, because he felt like that some of them had lied on his dad, saying that he was this way and he wasn't. And but anytime there is a problem, anytime there's a split, anytime there's a division, brother, it causes problems. It
Yes.
causes heartache. It does. And where I'm going now, a couple of the sisters told me some things that had happened here. And what happens is it affects your children. And
Yes.
sometimes the children will walk away and they
Yes.
just don't want anything to do with it. And
Yes.
listen, I thank God, I don't know why, but I thank God that my children, they have seen that, but they have not walked away saying they don't want salvation, you know. And I don't know why, but I mean I've seen other people. I mean my son, he's got children. My oldest son, he's got children that they really some of them just don't even want anything to do with the church of God. My daughter, I have one daughter, and right now she's in where she doesn't really want to have anything to do with the church of God because she's been hurt in years past, and it was unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
Yes, and
Just
it's terrible, but it's the children. An adult might be able to come out of it, but your children get scarred.
Sister Wingate, talk to the children tonight, the young people in their 30s or 40s that got damaged through the split in 85 or recently, or whatever the time was. Talk to them tonight. Talk to a person who's been wounded, not going to church, been hurt. What can you say to them? Give them some advice tonight. You've been around for years and years. Help us out tonight.
That is very hard to give advice like that. What we did, of course, my husband died very young,
Yes.
and he was a big influence on his children, a big influence. And thank God, I'm thankful for that he had that much influence on them. And because of that reason, I believe is the reason now that they still seek God, because they had such a respect for their dad, and they saw their dad go through a lot of stuff, and
Right.
they knew, but they still stayed true. But I have my daughter, bless her heart. She doesn't want anything to do with the church. But you know what? What I try to tell them, the Church of God is not just a bunch of people in a building. The church is a divine revelation. You've got to see that the Church of God is a divine revelation.
Amen.
And God has got to show you that.
Amen.
And I thank God that I saw that. But the only thing I could tell young people is they want to go to heaven,
Sure.
but they don't want to look at a building that says Church of God, and maybe it has a lot of bad memories for them. And a lot of them do have bad memories from things that's happened. I mean, my children could probably write a book about some things. And Stephen told me one day recently, he said, Mom, the Wingates lived in a glass house.
Sure.
Everybody knew, and my kids was open. They didn't ever try to hide nothing. And, but I don't care who you are. You've got to realize that God is real.
Yes.
No matter what's happened to you, God can overcome that hurt.
Yes.
I mean, I've been hurt. Believe me, I have been hurt. But God helped me. God helped me to stay firm, even though sometimes, listen, there was times when I know that I was kind of rocky, not because I never wanted to go back into sin, ever. But still, you get where you don't want to get lukewarm. But
Right.
It's very easy if you're professing salvation. It's very easy to get lukewarm under those circumstances.
So when you're hurting, lukewarmness can be a temptation from the devil to try to keep you in that condition.
And you know something? But what we have to realize is this kind of stuff, Brother Moon, has been going on since the beginning of time.
It's true.
This kind of stuff where ministers has messed up and there's been all kinds of problems, that's been going on, from the beginning of time.
It's true.
So when we see it now, it's hard not to say, well, that shouldn't be going on, and it shouldn't. But it is going to go on, and it's going to go on until God comes back.
Right.
So we have to hold on.
So our time is gone, but we thank you. We're going to continue next week, if you have time, please, to talk more about that 85 split and what we can do to continue to do better.
Okay.
We want to learn from the past to do better in the present. So we thank you tonight for that. Again, if you want to call us, you can do in the week. Questions for Wingate, you can call 478. I'm sorry.
I will do that.
Okay. And to our director, thank you so much for helping us out tonight. Sister Wingate being here, and our listeners, Lord bless you.
I do have one comment
Yes, ma'am.
from Stephen Wingate. He said, excellent, thank you. Just want to put that in there.
As my friend,
Yes.
Lord bless him.
Yes.
In fact, a lot of the information I got was from that book, 60 Years Church of God. Very accurate information. I enjoyed that. So next week we'll go again. We'll see you next week. May the Lord bless you. Have a good week.
Hey, brother. Okay.
Bye-bye.